Fawcett, ALM in Psychology. The title of his address is Personal Transformations.
I'm sure all of us have spent some time over the past week reflecting on our years here at Harvard. My own reflection has brought to mind a few moments that chronicle the changes and growth I've experienced here. My story begins in June of 1999 when I attended a commencement ceremony here at Harvard as my younger brother completed his undergraduate studies. As I spoke with him and his classmates, it became very clear that a personal transformation had occurred during their time here. At a quiet moment after the ceremony, I had a conversation with my brother John that changed my whole direction in life. I said, I would love to attend graduate school at Harvard, but the programs require full-time study. To which John responded, have you heard of the Harvard Extension School? That's how my journey began. My first educational experience on campus involved going to the library to retrieve resource materials. Seemed easy enough. There I was, standing at the bottom of the towering steps of Widener Library, feeling like an alien intruder in a world where I was unsure if I belonged. Much to my relief, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a small door to the left of Widener. Without another thought, I dashed down the stairs, trying above all to look natural. I was soon lost in the labyrinth of bookshelves and hallways. In a panic, and afraid to ask for assistance, I read the fire exit map on the wall. I followed the red painted line on the floor. Finally, I stepped into a marble hallway and saw a guard dutifully checking these as students casually entered the building. I burst past them and out the door to find I was standing atop the very steps of Widener that had intimidated me 2 hours earlier. At that moment, I realized two inescapable facts of life at Harvard. One, I'm going to need a GPS to get around campus. Two, being intimidated by the surroundings was no longer an option. It was clear that the change from nervous student to confident learner had begun. I continued to progress through the program. I took classes, I met new challenges. In larger classes, there were the additional requirements for graduate students. The most memorable for me was Professor Dante's triple threat of term paper examination and in-class presentation. That presentation was the first time I stood in front of a full auditorium. The thought of not doing well was the cause of several sleepless nights. The result of performing well was the confidence to stand here today. The challenges and growth continued through statistics and intensive writing. Then there was the prose seminar. The focus developing academic arguments and the patience of my instructor, Professor White, who taught me to write in the academic style, was my final hurdle before applying to the program. As a concentrator in psychology, I noticed I was changing as a student. I would often consider, what would these changes mean? Where would they bring me? One of the most comforting and understated descriptions of how change occurs came to me in a seminar class with Professor Ivan Cohen. At the time I met Professor Cohen, he was in his late 80s, still writing, still teaching. The evening before class began, Professor Cohen presided over a discussion of how current events are changing the world as we know it. As class was scheduled to start, he stopped the discussion and said, "The world has only changed significantly once in my lifetime." We all leaned in close to hear the next sentence with anticipation. Professor Cohen continued, "When the fleet of ships carrying coffee switched from sail to modern steam." We all laughed. He waited patiently and then continued. "You see, there was an aged, salty, and oak flavor the coffee had from those long, slow trips in wooden sailboats. It is gone now, and it will never return. My world is different than it was. The flavor has changed." After all the classes, the final challenge, the thesis project. The trials of this experience are both testing and rewarding. My project involved changing social attitudes surrounding relational bullying in adolescents through the use of literature. The project pushed me to new heights of research experience and writing skill. At the same time, the project also increased my self-confidence in approaching people for assistance by forcing me to find a potential thesis director and then convincing him of the worth of my intended study. For me, the process led to a career change and a careful examination of my occupational options as an educator, ending in an exciting new opportunity with greater responsibility this coming fall. I came here seeking the personal transformation that only learning and education can provide. I leave having found it. In this way, we have all changed our worlds. As subtle as those changes may be, they are profound nonetheless. As we walked past those steps of Widener today, on our commencement day, I was reminded of my frantic search for the exit in my first days at Harvard. I realized that now, my thesis, bound in its crimson cover, is a part of that library's collection, along with the personal transformation it represents. Congratulations, my classmates.